Welcome to Looking at Legal Stuff. Today we have a new update in part 5 of a case with a couple where the children have been removed by the state due to both dad being in prison for SA against his children and also mom having issues with emotional instability and a DV arrest. The children are initially sent back to live with mom again with clear expectations and goals she must meet in order to have full custody returned to her. But despite a lot of support from social workers, local charities, and churches, she fails to meet nearly every expectation given to her. Will there be any consequences, and will mom's behavior improve? Let's find out. Make sure to watch the previous 4 videos in this case, which cover all 9 of their earlier hearings. I'll link them for you down below.
Great. Good morning. We're here on the matter of EG and SC, case numbers 22-51687 NA, 22-51884 NA. Present in the virtual courtroom. We have mother, Ms. Jones. We have her attorney, Ms. Lowry. We have Ms. Cardenas here on behalf of Mr. Gregory. We have Mr. Adams here for the unknown father of SC. We have the child's attorney, Kendra Ortega, or children's attorney, Kendra Ortega, various agency workers, the foster parent. All right, Ms. Ortega.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd call Cassandra Helms.
All right, Ms. Helms, would you raise your right hand, please? Would you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Cassandra Helms, Cassandra
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Ortega.
Thank you. Ms. Helms, you're employed with Bethany Christian Services,
Yes, ma'am.
and you're the caseworker on this matter.
Yes, ma'am.
As part of your employment, you presented to the court some reports for entry today.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to list the reports and move those for admission.
Please do.
Right. Exhibit number 1 would be the case service plan and 2 parent agency treatment plans dated September 24 of 2025.
Any objection? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead and list them all, and then
all right,
we'll
thank
go from there.
you. Exhibit number 2 are 3 YWCA reports dated July 7 of 2025, August 4 of 2025, September 4 of 2025. And then Exhibit 3 is Parenting Time Specialist report dated September 30 of 2025.
Right, any objections?
No objection.
Just for the record, I just received the Parenting Time Specialist report this morning, so I have not yet had a chance to review that one.
Okay.
Also, for the record, Your Honor, I did receive the exhibits from Ms. Cardenas. Although I have not reviewed them, I do have them, and I will review them as the hearing proceeds. Thank you.
All right. So, Ms. Lowry, do you want the court to hold off on admitting that exhibit until you've had an opportunity to review it?
I would, yes. Thank you.
I'll admit all but that one.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Helms, I'm going to start with the minor children, EG and SC. EG is age 6 currently?
Yes, ma'am.
And then SC turns 5 this Sunday, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And how are they doing just collectively?
Overall doing well. They've really adjusted to the transition from Saginaw to Grand Rapids. They both started school, really thriving in school, and there's no medical or dental concerns.
Were there any issues getting them enrolled in school once that transition was made?
No, ma'am.
I know historically in the case, there was a point where delay in school enrollment had been an issue that did not occur this time, correct?
That is correct.
All right. Are they attending the same school?
Yes, they attend the same school, yes.
Okay. And EG, is he receiving any services at this time?
Yes, he has been able to start play therapy in the Grand Rapids area. He had to transition that service when they moved. So he just was able to start with his new play therapist last week, and he'll be working with Sabrina Sliger through, it's a long name, advanced counseling and therapy services, healing through play counseling, and that will be on a bi-weekly basis.
Okay. And what about SC? Is she enrolled in counseling yet?
I did refer her. There is a little hiccup in getting her insurance accepted by that therapist, but that should be pushed along shortly. That therapist continues to keep me up to date, but they should be seeing the same play therapist on an individualized basis.
Do either child have a medical need at this time?
Not at this time. The only thing that's been a hiccup is Shauna's not up to date on her immunizations, and so the school has been sending some letters. I'm going to discuss that further with Miss Jones. That's kind of a new thing that's come up since she started school.
Okay. You'll need Miss Jones' permission to get those immunizations?
Yes, historically she has denied that, but I haven't revisited with her recently, so I want to have a conversation with her about that.
Okay. And does she give a reason for denying those in the past? Is it a
Not that I
religious
can recall.
exception or?
I'm not sure.
Okay. And how about dental? Are they both caught up with dental?
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any mental health diagnoses for either child?
Not at this time.
I think last time we were here, we did discuss trauma assessments. I think the intention was the agency was going to request those. Can you give the court an update?
Yes, due to EG and SC just starting services, I wouldn't be able to get that approved for funding until it's proven that they're not making progress in services and it's currently not court ordered. So a little bit of a hiccup. It's kind of a lot of hurdles to get trauma assessments approved.
Okay, when you say just started services,
Hold on, just Ms. Cardenas, you have your hand raised?
I did. I was going to wait until after she was at least done with the children, but I know my client's always been present at these hearings. I know Ms. Gibson, usually I always see the email out to the prison for my client to be present, and it doesn't. So I was just kind of thought he'd be brought in at some point. I haven't seen him up here. So I just wanted to note that for the court.
Okay, thank you. We don't have him in the waiting room. I'll ask that Ms. Gibson reach back out to the prison.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, Ms. Ortega.
No problem. Thank you, Your Honor. Trauma assessment, and when you say just started services, Ms. Helms, you're talking about counseling services?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know if there is a court order, if the judge ordered the trauma assessments be conducted, is that enough to get those going?
Yes, that is a reason for it to be approved. We just don't have it. It doesn't read that way in the court order, so I haven't been able to use that as a reason for qualifying for that.
Okay. And have you had a chance to view the new house here is it in Wyoming, Michigan?
Yes, ma'am, on more than one occasion.
Okay. And that placement is appropriate or the housing is appropriate?
The housing is appropriate, yes.
Are there any needs that have been identified for EG or SC?
Not that it's already being addressed, no.
Okay. And newer information that's not contained in your reports but should be noted today for the court, there is an issue that came up with placement?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what is that?
Our licensing department went out to the caregiver's home a couple of weeks ago to do a renewal assessment of the home. And after that visit, the clearances or background checks were completed again, and it came to our attention that the caregiver was arrested on 5/10 of this year, and we were not notified. Upon receiving that news on 9/25, the licensor completed a safety plan regarding that incident. Do you want me to give the details of that incident?
Well, we can go into some of that. So is there agency protocol to where if something like that occurs, the caregiver should have notified the agency?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and that is a concern for the agency?
Yes, ma'am.
Have there been any other undisclosed items that the agency has found other than this May event?
No, ma'am.
Okay. It's my understanding that this event included the caregiver was intoxicated at that time?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And there are some criminal charges. Are they pending or are we waiting for sentencing?
There is a hearing on Friday of this week, so 10/10, to figure out kind of the findings of those charges, and I only have a verbal account on what will occur on that date.
Are you aware if the children were present during this incident?
They were not.
Okay. And are you aware if there was a sober caretaker in place for the children during this time?
It was reported that they were home with the adult caregiver in the home. There wasn't any indication in the police report that the children were present, so I have no way to confirm, but just that verbal confirmation.
Okay. And to your understanding, the person watching them in the home was not drinking or intoxicated?
No, ma'am.
All right. And this has been addressed with the caregiver with a safety plan?
Yes, ma'am.
Has she signed a safety plan?
Yes, she agreed to the safety plan over the phone on 9/25, and then it was signed on 10/7. It got sent in the mail, so there was a little bit of a delay in getting it to her.
Okay. And does that safety plan, can you outline a little bit of what that safety plan is for the court?
Yes, the safety plan outlines that Miss Lindsay Watley will update the agency if there's anything criminal that comes up regarding her, that she will ensure that there's sober caregivers in place to care for the children. Those are the big things, but making sure like the agency is notified of any concerns.
Okay. The agency has had a discussion with the caregiver, a thorough discussion with the caregiver?
Yes, ma'am.
And at this time, you didn't find it necessary to initiate placement change or immediate removal of the children from her?
No, the agency doesn't believe that the children are immediate risk of harm. Obviously, this is a big concern, and it's been, as you said, discussed thoroughly with the caregiver. I think the big concern right now is the home assessment cannot be approved based on this incident occurring and the agency not being notified. And so it's pretty much been determined that the home assessment would not be able to be approved and licensure could not occur.
Okay. When you say home assessment, is that meaning just for the guardianship portion of this, or in general, the home is not going to be appropriate for placement?
The home assessment that was done by the relative licensor, just like an annual renewal for the home, so it's separate from the licensure process.
Okay. All right. And so if the home is assessed and is not appropriate placement, in general, not just for guardianship, then what are the alternatives for the children?
There's no established plan right now, as this kind of just has been evolving, but if it's not deemed appropriate by the court for the children to remain in this placement, other options will have to be explored, either through relatives or through community foster homes.
Okay, so the court can still order continued placement regardless of assessment, the result of the assessment?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's move on to Miss Jones. I'm going through her stated needs that are on her parent agency treatment plan. We've got emotional stability, parenting skills, communication, interpersonal skills, and child characteristics. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. She has housing at this time?
Yes, I have viewed that and it is appropriate.
Okay, great. And then how about employment or income?
She has changed employment during this reporting period. She's kept me pretty up to date on that. I haven't received any pay stubs yet, but she did send me what she did have from her employer, which is kind of like a instructions on setting up her portal. And so I know she knows she's supposed to send me her pay stub. So still in the process. I know that change is new, that employment change is new. So
Okay. Going back to emotional stability, I noted that the progress was rated poor for this reporting period. Can you describe what services you're offering for emotional stability?
yes, Miss Jones has been working with Cami Becker / Bushhog. Her last name changed, so I just want to note that to the court. Through YWCA for quite some time. There has been inconsistency in attending those sessions with Miss Bushhog. There was a period from 8/13 to 10/2 that Miss Jones didn't attend any sessions. So that consistency piece is a concern for the agency. Miss Jones has had multiple conversations with her therapist and myself about engaging in DBT services, which is recommended by her therapist. I know Miss Jones did start that last week, so on 10/1. And I haven't gotten an ROI signed yet to discuss with that therapist on that engagement. So that will be a positive for Miss Jones if she's consistent in that service.
Okay. Parenting skills is also listed and rated as poor during the last report period. What services are offered for parenting skills?
Yes, Miss Jones is referred to work with our parenting time specialist supervisor. There have been several TDMs regarding parenting times and ensuring we are all on the same page on what is expected of Miss Jones to progress in those family times with her children. Miss Jones is inconsistent in meeting with her parenting time specialist to discuss what went well during family times, what didn't go well, where can she grow. And so that is kind of a big piece of that program in order to show progress. I think family times are inconsistent in their appropriateness. Previously, the last few weeks, Ms. Jones has demonstrated really strong parenting skills in remaining calm and regulated and helping the kids regulate. I think the biggest concern for the agency right now is that consistency in being able to do that. There's also concerns of Ms. Jones continuing to threaten to leave the children in the rooms if they're not behaving how she would like them to, or they get upset if they're not doing activities she wants to do. Ms. Jones has covered SC's mouth when she didn't like that she was not listening to her and interrupting. And this past Monday, she threatened to whoop SC during a family time. So there continue to be concerns. And so this is an area that we want to continue to have her build her skills.
Okay, so that was just as recently as last Monday. She said that to SC.
That was, yes, this week. That would have been the 6th.
Okay, but you mentioned in general over the past 3 weeks, things had improved. Is that correct?
Yes, she had shown some positive parenting skills for sure.
Okay, so that's just still kind of an up and down with the behavior during parenting and showing a consistency to keep that emotional stability during the parenting.
Yes, ma'am.
Communication and interpersonal skills, it's listed there's some progress. Can you tell the court what progress you're seeing there?
Yes, I think Miss Jones and I have had some more consistent and productive communication. When I met with her in her home at the end of August, we had a very productive conversation. I even named that to her. I said, this is one of our most productive conversations. We reviewed her treatment plan during that meeting, and it's just that those conversations when Miss Jones can listen and be open-minded to what we're discussing. I feel like there's more progress that's able to be made. Again, that's just that consistency piece. We want to continue to see that consistency from her and her appropriateness to communicate.
Okay, and child characteristics, that looks newer. I did not see a specific rating on progress. Child characteristics, is that kind of coupled with the parenting skills and emotional stability?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Are you offering specific services on child characteristics, or has she taken every class she can for those?
I don't have anything specific that we've talked about. I know she did talk about at one point retaking the parenting after trauma class, but nothing specific that we have set in stone.
Okay. Moving on to Mr. Gregory. He's still incarcerated.
Yes, ma'am.
Is he getting parenting times in virtual, I would assume, parenting times with EG?
They do have consistent phone calls, several phone calls a week. There has been a little issue with in-person visits. The caregiver was trying to bring EG to visit his father at least monthly, but they started saying that they couldn't use a copy of his birth certificate to complete family times, and so I've requested an original from DHS, and she said she was going to send it out, and then she forgot about it. So I should be getting that any day in the mail. So, but they have consistent contact over the phone, and those are appropriate.
Okay. And then are you expecting Mr. Gregory to participate in services while in prison?
Yes, he heavily engages in services. He sent me all of his certificates of completion of services this month. I received, I believe, 9. So he's really engaging in anything and everything that can be offered to him. I sent him homework. He's completed all of those. We meet on a monthly basis, just him and I, and we discuss any questions he has, any homework he would be interested in completing. I know he's really excited for the educational program he's eligible for next month. So that would start in January. So he's really engaging in everything that he can at this point.
Okay, great. And then SC's father remains unknown.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what efforts are you doing to identify?
There's no leads on who SC's father is. Ms. Jones hasn't provided any names. Our family finder has been able to locate any options, and so we're really kind of at a stuck point on where to go from here to kind of locate him.
Do you know if SC looks to Mr. Gregory as the father figure?
I think she does. Her and EG definitely argue on whose father it is, and so she does talk with him on the phone, and so he does have some engagement with her.
All right, and she also sees Mr. Gregory's family as her family?
Yeah, I would say so. Yes, we haven't specifically talked about that, but she does have close relationships with them. Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of going back to the environment and the caregiver, is the caregiver making sure that the children are in age-appropriate activities?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And have you identified any other relatives that are able to take placement should the court determine that placement with the caregiver should not continue?
None have been established at this time, but I know that we can definitely revisit the genogram to see if there's any appropriate relatives. I know I did discuss this with the caregiver yesterday, and she said that there are some relatives on EG's side that could be open to at least placement of EG. I did indicate that we'd want the kids to stay together if at all possible, but no background checks, assessments have been completed at this time.
Okay. And at this point, is it still the agency's position that return of the children to their mother would lead to substantial risk of harm?
Yes.
Okay. And however, is termination of parental rights in the children's best interest?
No.
And that's because they're placed with a relative and there's still a bond with really both parents?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Cardenas. I'm sorry, Ms. Lowry.
Thank you, Your Honor. All right. So Ms. Jones secured housing. It's appropriate for her and the children, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
She has a lease. She now has beds, rooms set up for the children.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And is employed. She has started DBT, which was the request of her Y therapist, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So she'll be doing that weekly?
I'm not sure how consistently she is. I know she has another appointment today, so that would be 2 weeks in a row. I'm not sure. I know she's going to continue to work with both therapists. I just don't know how frequently each.
Okay. And you just need her to sign the release so you can communicate with the DBT therapist?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And has that just not happened since it's so new, or
Yes.
she's not refusing to resign the release or anything like that?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. So that was a big step as well. And do you know if Miss Jones has given any indications as to difficulties in getting to her appointments at the Y, given her new location, which is much farther from downtown than she was before?
She hasn't indicated to me having a barrier for that.
Okay. So if that's been a barrier in getting to her appointments, that just has not been communicated to you.
Correct.
All right. But she doesn't have a vehicle, correct?
No, ma'am.
So she utilizes public transportation. So if she had been downtown and was able to get to the Y downtown pretty easily in the past, it's more complicated based on where she's located now and bus schedules and so forth.
Yes, the agency is able to provide her with bus passes, and I know that the Y does give her bus passes as well, and we would be able to utilize like a gas card if she could find a ride from someone. I know she does utilize people from her church for rides as well.
I'm Just a second. Ms. Jones, are you able to turn your video back on? Your video's been off for quite a bit here.
I think sometimes when she's sending me messages from her phone, the video goes off.
Okay. All
And
right.
so
All right.
I'm not sure, but maybe she can turn it on now.
Okay.
She has been sending me messages, just
Okay.
follow up on
Sorry,
things.
sorry about that. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Lowry.
Oh, I know. Do you know if Miss Jones has reached out to Miss Bushhog, if I'm saying the correct last name, about possibly maybe trying to do some virtual sessions for some of hers, just for ease of not relying on the bus schedule and issues with that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they've had that conversation. I have pretty consistent contact with Miss Bushhog regarding her engagement with Miss Jones, and she hasn't indicated that's something they discussed.
Okay. Would you have any issue with her doing that if Miss Bushong would agree to that as well?
I think that's up to Miss Bushhog's discretion on how she thinks that would be the most productive.
Okay. All right. But either way, DBT is more intensive and she has started that service.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great. And overall, have you seen more positive improvements in just communication with the agency and so forth in the last 3 months than the prior 3 months?
Yes, I would say there has been progress. Yes.
All right. And we've been meeting and kind of trying to figure out when we can move to unsupervised parenting time. What does that look like for you right now?
Right now we've had a few TDMs to try to kind of figure out how to get there. I know we did have a meeting scheduled for last week to kind of talk about expanding those family times. Ms. Jones did not attend that after she confirmed with me. I'm not really sure what happened there. I know that our parenting time specialist and I have discussed, starting supervised parenting times in Ms. Jones's home, but we haven't been able to have a meeting to discuss the expectations of that and what that would look like. I think the biggest concern for the agency to move to unsupervised visits is just the consistency in Miss Jones's emotional regularity, just her responses when things kind of don't go as planned, and making sure that she's engaging with the kids appropriately on a consistent basis. Just that inconsistency can raise concerns of safety and well-being for the children.
Okay. But most of, at least from reading some of these reports, a lot of this, the concerns with her parenting skills seems to be a difference in opinion as far as how to parent the children, whether or not you take a break, the parent takes a break out of the room, or that seems to be viewed by the agency as causing, the children to cry, but that might be a technique that Miss Jones has learned. Like, okay, I need to step out if things are, the children are safe, and would you agree with that? That there seems to be it doesn't teeter on safety as much as parenting techniques and what Ms. Jones views as appropriate parenting techniques and what the agency views as appropriate parenting techniques.
I think that reporting she needs to take a break is one thing. She more so just says that she's going to leave SC in a room and that she's not allowed to engage because she's not behaving how she would like her to. So that's more of a concern. If she were to say, I need to take a break and verbalize that to the parenting time specialist, I think that would be a very different approach than just threatening to leave the children.
Okay. But I mean, she's not leaving them out we're in a room at the agency, correct?
I think the bigger concern is that SC and EG have trauma and a trauma regarding being left. And so that has been discussed with Miss Jones, that that's why they become upset. And so I think that this is why we wanted to start having supervised visits in the home to see if that change of environment would be beneficial and how that would be approached. But it is pretty it's pretty difficult for the children when those incidences occur.
All right. I know we've mentioned this before, but a lot of times she wants to use her time with the children, not just for playing, but also for parenting, for teaching them things, for holding them accountable. I know there was this mention like, oh, Shauna wrote something and she erased it. She wanted her to write it differently. Like she's trying to assist them in the manner that she wants, but that's being held against her. Like, oh, she erased what Shauna wrote and made her rewrite it. Some of these just feel very like fine lines as far as parenting skills. And Is that not how the agency views it?
I think that there's a different approach. Yes, Ms. Jones has come with like educational things and working with the kids on like their lettering and different things like that. I think the more concern is when SC is upset because she can't do a skill, she doesn't have the skills yet, and Ms. Jones becomes upset with her because she doesn't have the skill. And so sometimes it's not completely age appropriate. And so I wouldn't say that's a safety concern as much as like just a skill that needs to be continued to be developed.
But would that be a skill that would keep her from having unsupervised time with her children? She's not placing them at risk. There's just things she could do better. Fine
Solely
tune.
on that, no.
All right. Okay. So we need to have another FTM to look at what she needs to do, but you're looking for essentially consistency in her parenting skills and continuing with DBT.
Yes, and continue engaging with the parenting time specialist, yes.
Okay. So is the agency able to get like a FOIA request of the police contact for the foster parent?
Yes, the agency, the licensor did get that report.
Okay. All right. And that can be provided to the parties? Because obviously Miss Jones was arrested, her children were removed. It was based on emotional stability at that time. I'm just wondering, if the same applies to the caregiver, the current caregiver.
I'm not sure what the protocol is on being able to distribute that police
Okay.
report.
All right. But the agency believes the children are safe in the home right now with the safety plan?
Yes.
Okay. All right. But it would not be a placement where there would be a guardianship. Subsidized guardianship could be approved.
Correct. A subsidized guardianship could not be approved. A juvenile guardianship could be approved if the placement is court ordered.
Okay. All right. But we're moving towards hopefully continued reunification with Miss Jones. Those efforts are in place. That's our goal currently.
Yes, there's two goals concurrently working. So yes, continue to work on both.
All right. I know Shauna, SC has a birthday coming up on Sunday, and Miss Jones would really like to celebrate that day with her. Is that something that the agency can look at, finding alternate supervisors or consider, a safety plan for Miss Jones to have unsupervised birthday visit with SC?
I think the agency could definitely explore having someone approved to supervise that contact. I know the caregiver has reported being open to that, supervising that contact. I know Ms. Jones wasn't on board with that, but we could explore other appropriate options to supervise that contact.
Well, at this point, we have a caregiver that can't be approved by the agency for placement, correct?
On a home assessment, yes.
On a home assessment. Okay, but not based on the home, but based on the caregiver, correct?
On an incident of concern, yes.
All right. So extending the same grace to Miss Jones, if she's planned a party at her apartment, has a room rented in the apartment to have a visit, can the agency look into, right, either other parties to supervise, or I understand it's on a Sunday, or, a short time that she can have unsupervised where it can be, dropped off by the caregiver and maybe picked up by the caregiver. I don't know. I'm just trying to see if a safety plan can be utilized for a visit for her with her daughter for her birthday.
Yeah, we can explore options. I did let Ms. Jones know that we could explore options. I know she really wants to see SC on her birthday. I don't know details of what she's kind of looking for. And I can't guarantee anything, but I said that we could look into it.
Okay. All right. So is there anything concrete that you can ask Ms. Jones to do specifically to move towards these unsupervised? I know we said continue these parenting, appropriate parenting skills, but anything else concrete?
I think being productive with the parenting time specialist, I know that she can get pretty upset with her, and then their phone calls they have to discuss, positives and areas of growth, are often not productive. And so I really want that time to be productive for Miss Jones in order to build her parenting skills and consistency. So I think that would be something that would really benefit her.
Okay. And then lastly, is Miss Jones able to participate in the kids' appointments, doctor's appointments, now that the children are in Grand Rapids, educational appointments, those types of things? Is she being invited to those with enough time to, figure out bus time, work schedules, and so forth?
Yes, nothing has been scheduled. I know that the kids are coming due on their medicals, so they haven't been scheduled yet. So I'll make sure she's up to date. I do know that Miss Jones was able to attend the first day of school for EG and SC, and the parenting time specialist went to that, and that was appropriate. So that was then the only opportunity since they've moved for that.
Okay. All right. Okay, I don't think I have any other questions.
All right, thank you. Miss Cardenas.
Thank you.
I should note, I believe we have Mr. Gregory finally here from the prison.
Yes, I
Okay.
will let him in.
Okay.
Oh, they're in. Okay.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Cardenas.
I don't see my client yet, so I was hoping to give him 1 minute to join. Is that okay? I know we're probably running on time.
Yeah, we are. Here he is.
Okay. Yes, so first we will talk about Mr. Gregory. I mean, basically he's doing everything he can while he is currently incarcerated, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he's returning all the homework, he's engaging with any services that he can at the prison.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, he's responding to you.
Yes, ma'am.
He visits with his child as much as he can,
Yes, ma'am.
the phone calls.
Mhm.
You're going to assist him with doing the actual in-person visits, but that's waiting on a birth certificate. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. He's very bonded to EG,
Very much so.
actually bonded to SC as well.
I would say so, yes.
Okay. In regards to the foster parent, currently it is the relative paternal grandmother. I guess I want to know what are you looking to continue with just juvenile guardianship, even if it can't be subsidized?
The caregiver is open to that, if deemed appropriate by the court.
Okay. And considering that the children, especially EG, has been there pretty much his whole entire life, besides, well, not his whole entire life. I'm redacting that. He's been there since the beginning of this case, outside of the months he was placed back with his mother, correct?
That is correct.
So at this point, it's several years, correct?
I wouldn't say several, but it has been a couple, yes.
Okay, a couple years. Okay. And it was kind of brought up that Miss Jones was also arrested, but at the time that the foster relative was arrested, kids were safely placed somewhere else, not at the scene, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. They were with the sober, appropriate caregiver?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And can that determination already be made considering that there's no final determination of that case?
Can you rephrase?
Well, she's been charged with something, but we don't know what the result is, right? We don't know what the actual final disposition of that case is.
Correct. That was in 2 days. So yes, very inconvenient timing with this hearing. Yes.
Okay. So it may change as far as what would be allowed through licensing.
I think the bigger concern for the licensing purpose is that the agency wasn't notified of the incident. And so I think like a safety plan is in place. My understanding from what the licensor, I'm not a licensor, but the licensor informed me was there was quite a big addendum previously in place regarding the caregiver's pretty old record criminal history. And so they were able to say that there was enough time in between there to justify that she's made progress and inappropriateness. So now that this new charge is recent, it's harder to make that argument of it being old and there being progress. And so I think that's a big concern. Yes, it is important to note that the children weren't there for the incident, and that is, it's positive in that aspect.
Okay. And also the fact that the caregiver did move with the children to Grand Rapids. My understanding it was really for the benefit of the children to be closer to their mother and to engage with not having to do this back and forth. Is that correct?
Yes, and there being more family for the children in Grand Rapids, yes.
Okay. So it does seem that the caregiver is looking out for the children's best interest in that aspect.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Your Honor, I have no more questions.
Thank you. Mr. Adams?
On behalf of unknown father, no questions. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Ortega, do you have any other witnesses or any follow-up questions for Ms. Holmes?
No follow-up, Your Honor, and no more witnesses or exhibits.
Thank you. Ms. Lowry?
No witnesses, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Cardenas?
No witnesses or evidence. Thank you.
Mr. Adams?
Likewise, no witnesses or exhibits. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Ms. Ortega, statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Recent events put us in a little bit of a quandary here, and I was notified of these events really earlier this week, and I've weighed different things. I did visit with the children in the home this week, and they are doing really well. Love school, love their teachers. Home is very appropriate. They have all the needs that necessities that they need. I did have a lengthy conversation with the caregiver regarding the incidents, and just in preparation for my recommendation and report to the court today. Given that they're in a relative placement, I think if the children were in a non-relative placement, just unattached foster home, I probably would have some concerns. I'd probably be asking for the court to change foster placements, likely. That being said, I'm weighing the harm that I could see for the children versus a safety concern by staying with the current their grandmother, and I am settled enough to believe that the children are not in a risk of harm to where they should be removed from this placement today. I think the likelihood they could be separated is an issue, because Miss EG has more family. And I don't know if the family would be able to take both of the children. And so we would run into those issues. I do think that the caregiver took immediately responsibility once, I understand being very scared to share the information. I understand it was her duty to do so. But what most solidified it for me is that there is a very strong safety plan in place. And it is my understanding this caregiver is aware that any kind of divergence from that safety plan will probably mean a request for removal from the agency. And again, there was a sober caregiver in place at the time, have identified that. So I'm not concerned about the current risk of harm. I am pleasantly, I've seen some growth in Miss Jones over the last report period. It'd be a different story if I could come before the court and say, hey, I think that the children are safe to maybe return home, and this is how we resolve this. I just don't think we're there. I think that she's on a very good track, though. So today, I wouldn't have a problem with an order granting supervised or unsupervised, and there be a plan for unsupervised, that within the next week or two, Ms. Jones and the agency sit down and make a plan to how Ms. Jones gets to the unsupervised. I think more than one session in this DBT therapy needs to occur, but if there's consistency over, say a month or so of that DBT therapy, consistency in parenting times and improvement with working with her specialist, she has housing, she has beds, she has those things. And so I think at this point, the good news is Ms. Jones has made some progress enough to where this may end up remedying itself. I also do think that the caregiver can, at some point, if necessary, be an unlicensed guardian. And that I think moving them to non-relatives or just moving their placement at this time, given what the children have been through, would be more harmful to them than keeping them there. So that's my 2 cents, and I support the recommendations today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And just for the record, the court does not place with specific people. That is something that is reserved for the agency. There are some exceptions, but we're not there procedurally at this point for the court to take that on. So I don't want anybody to think that that is really on the table today.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Lowry.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, I have seen a lot of growth from Ms. Jones this last reporting period. I think there's been frustrations that she's kind of gotten over, and I see she's raising her hand. But that she's gotten over. First, I mean, housing is so hard to get in Grand Rapids, and it took a long time, but she didn't give up. She reached out to resources. She found housing. She just sent me a picture this morning of the kids' bedrooms, and it's adorable. There's books, there's stuffed animals. They each have their own bed. She is ready for her babies to come home. She's, I think she's taking to the advice that's being given to her. She started DBT, and has her second session today. So she's, following through with that service. When I spoke to her about the why sessions and what's happened, she was focusing on getting her housing, and then now her housing is much farther. She had been downtown and been, essentially kind of homeless. And it's a bus route and it's bus schedules. And if you're 15 minutes late, it's canceled. And so it's a whole adjustment. And she did indicate that she had reached out to her counselor to say, hey, can we do virtual sessions? And she never got back to her about that. So I think we need to follow up with that. I think that virtual sessions would be great for her, to finish out that Y service while she kind of dives into the DBT. She's planned a birthday party for SC this weekend. She desperately wants to be able to see her on her birthday and to do this. And so I'm just asking the agency to give her just as much, benefit of the doubt safety plan for a birthday party for a few hours for her daughter as they have in other circumstances where information has come to light that's not positive. And ultimately, when we're talking about the children, they are safe. No one's indicated that any of her behaviors to them have put them in an unsafe position. It might not be the exact parenting move the parenting time specialist would like to see, but she's working through these things, and we have seen improvement. So I think we need to be looking at unsupervised parenting time. Clearly, we're in a situation where we're going to be looking at a plan for these children, and there is a home for them to be. And Ms. Jones is going to continue working with her service providers. And she wants what's best for her children. So we had about 5 minutes to talk about this situation with the caregiver prior to this, because neither of us knew. And, she wants what's best for her kids. So even though it's very frustrating and concerning, she doesn't want to uproot them from their school and their relative and where they're at, and with the hopes that they're going to be home. I mean, that's where she wants them home as soon as possible. So all things said, I think we would ask for continued goal of reunification and efforts and for unsupervised parenting time.
Thank you. Ms. Cardenas. And I'll just indicate I will have to adjourn in about 4 minutes. So I hate to cut you short, but we can either continue or it can be brief.
I'll just say I do support the recommendations and do believe that children should remain with the caregiver. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Adams.
Thank you. On behalf of Unknown Father, Your Honor, I'll take no position.
All right, thank you. The court finds that the lawyer guardian ad litem has complied with the requirements of the statute, that returning these children to a parent today would cause a substantial risk of harm to the children's life, physical health, or mental well-being, that they should not be returned to a parent. Children have been in foster care for 15 of the last 22 months, but the agency should not initiate proceedings to terminate parental rights to the children because the children are placed with a relative. Guardianship is a concurrent plan, and both children have a strong bond to both parents. that reasonable efforts have been made to preserve and reunify the family, make it possible for these children to safely return home. Those reasonable efforts should be continued. That progress has not been made by either parent towards alleviating or mitigating the conditions that caused the children to be placed in temporary foster care. That's not to say that there hasn't been progress. There's just not been enough progress to return these children to a parent's home today. That the children's continued placement is necessary and appropriate, is meeting each of their individual needs, that the needs of these children can be met in a foster family home, that reasonable efforts have been made to finalize the court-approved permanency plan of return and legal guardianship for both children, that permanency planning goal continues to be appropriate, that the foster home has followed the reasonable and prudent parenting standard, and these children have had regular opportunities to engage in age or developmentally appropriate activities. These siblings are currently in joint placement. The court orders that the children continue in the protective and temporary custody of the court, continue their placement with the Department for Care and Supervision, that the adjudicated respondents comply and benefit from the case service plan, that Ms. Jones provide all pay stubs to the agency on an ongoing basis. The parenting time of Mr. Gregory continue as supervised. That Ms. Jones' parenting time continue at the discretion of the department to allow unsupervised or supervised parenting time by his designee. I hope something gets worked out for SC's birthday this weekend. That the appointment of all of the attorneys is continued. And Ms. Gibson, do we have another date for a review hearing in 3 months?
Yes, Your Honor, I have January 6th at 9 a.m.
Any conflicts with that date or time?
Works for me.
Works for me.
Works for me.
Okay, terrific. We will see you then.